Today, we're looking at Kung Fu on the NES. Kung Fu was released by Nintendo on the NES in 1985. As a Kung Fu master, you must defeat a deadly wizard's army of demons, dragons, henchmen, and acrobats to reach the top level and rescue your girlfriend, who is fearing for her life and yours. Remember, if you're new here, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button as it helps us the channel grow. And don't forget to hit the notification button for all future videos. So, is Kung Fu any good today? Here is our review of Kung Fu for the NES. Kung Fu's plot revolves around the romance between the main character Thomas and his girlfriend Sylvia. Mr. X kidnaps Sylvia and holds her captive on the top floor of the dojo where the game takes place. It's up to you to guide Thomas through each floor, punching and kicking all the enemies and conquering the big bosses at the conclusion of each stage. There are also a handful of in-between level cutscenes in which the player hears the hog-tied Sylvia cry, "Save me, Thomas." As a running in place, Thomas yells back, "Sylvia!" I think these cutscenes could have been done a little bit better with more storytelling for each speech. The game's control isn't bad, it's simple and easy to understand. The D-pad moves Thomas in either direction while up and down causes him to jump or crouch. Attacking can be done in midair or while crouching. The two major action buttons A and B perform kicks and punches. Punches are more powerful while kicks have greater reach. This is all there is to it, and the controls are tight and quick. In each stage you start off with a time limit of 2,000 units, which swiftly runs down the instant you take control of Thomas. You'll also start with a full health meter, which depletes in normal ways, being hit by opponents, assaults, and thrown knives, being captured by thugs, touching creatures, etc. The amounts of life you lose varies from enemy to enemies, with boss characters being so powerful that their attacks can potentially deplete your entire health bar with just 2 or 3 hits. The level designs and boss fights are simple. The layout of each stage are the same. A lengthy, fearless hallway with just the enemy types and quantity varies. The first stage starts off nice and easy. The opponents you fight become more difficult as you progress, such as the acrobatic midgets and dragons, and eventually the insects flying out of the walls on the 4th level. The game's visuals are typical of the NES launch title style graphics, plain and basic, although more on the bright side with the good utilization and varied colors. The backgrounds are just plain sky blue, with some of the ceiling artwork gives you the Oriental Dojo look and feel to it, but it is just a little depressing that the same background and scenery repeat throughout the entire game. Character designs are also very simple, but with diverse color schemes, they can be distinguished from one another. Thomas' character model is acceptable, however there are extreme little frames to show his movements and attacks. The game runs at a decent steady pace, with some enemies may be cut off from the view as they move from the side of the screen. The game's music and sounds are just average. The majority of the themes are simple and brief, with high-pitched melodies. While the background's theme is softer and lower, it's not too horrible. However, it's barely noticeable while playing, and boss battles don't have their own music. The game also includes some basic sound effects, most notably the Pachoo sound created when Thomas thrusts his fists and feet, the clump sound of his slippers as you walk, and the particular boring sound made if Thomas loses all of his energy and loses a life. The game also includes some extreme brief voice sampling in which the bosses laugh "Wahahaha" if you fail to defeat them, as well as intermission between stages displaying Sylvia's plea to be rescued from Mr. X. Overall, Kung Fu is a decent game that is worth playing once or twice if you enjoy basic Nintendo classics. As one of the system's earlier games, there isn't much to find, and plenty of the games that use a similar gameplay style available on the NES have more to offer. And this game's lifespan is sadly short. It could have been made a little longer or spruced up a little to feel less repetitive. If you don't mind these drawbacks, it's worth checking out because copies are easy to find and pretty cheap, although once you played it, you'll discover that it only takes up a space on your shelf as you may not want to play it again. I did have some fun with this game, and I would recommend it if you find it pretty cheap. Kung Fu for the NES is getting a 6.5 out of 10. What did you think about Kung Fu for the NES? That would do it for this episode. Remember to like and subscribe if you like this review, and leave comments below to share your thoughts. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you here on the next episode. Have a great day.